Savvy Business Radio, drawing out the best from our guests with our host, Christina Nichman.
Today on Savvy, no excuses, reach your full potential in 2019 with Soulaima Gourani. Soulaima is a motivational speaker, author, and knows the meaning of fresh start more than anyone. Today, she shares her inspirational journey and her top tips for growing your business against all odds and struggle. Find out more about Soulaima at Soulaima, that is SOULAIMA.com. Hi, Soulaima. Welcome to Savvy Business Radio. How are you today?
Thank you very well. And I'm so excited. And thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, you betcha. We're going to talk about a subject that is very near and dear to me, and that is how we can build up women leadership in the business world. And it's something I see missing from a lot of businesses, period. But one thing I'd love to see more of is women just rising and being their absolute best in leadership. And I know that women have it in them. And like myself back in corporate America, I was often trying to be a leader as purporting to be a man. Like I would walk in there all manly and try to be with this masculine energy. And we don't have to do that. We have our own feminine energy, which can be great leadership too. It's different. It's we don't have to be men. And of course, you also don't want to take that home, which I used to do way back when in the corporate world did not look pretty. But we're going to talk about that today. And I'm so grateful to have you share that. But before we go to share all those wonderful tidbits, share with our audience a little bit about your backstory and what led you to the world of entrepreneurship.
Well, I mean, it's I came into the IT industry in the late 90s, and very quickly I found out that the IT industry is really an industry that fits me really well because you get rewarded. In the 90s, barely any women were in the industry. And if you like to work hard and if you're good in selling and understanding IT, I would claim it's one of the best industries for women to actually, get into because there's a lot of opportunities but it's also a tough business. Anyhow, fast forward, I was rewarded, promoted, changed companies a few times. I worked for some of the biggest brands in the world, including Hewlett-Packard. And but in 2007, I was pregnant with my first child, and I just changed jobs to a global sales director position for a smaller company. And then they actually ended up firing me because, I was the sales director. They said I was expensive. And so when I claimed that I was pregnant, they simply fired me. I mean, I know you are not allowed to do that, but that was my destiny.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, having your first child and being pregnant is already, for me, was a big step and a big change.
Yes.
Losing my job, that was my identity. Like, I like working. I was proud of who I am when I'm working. I kind of lost it. But I didn't. The thing is, I need to make money. And I'm saying this proudly because I didn't inherit money. I'm not going to inherit money from anyone. I need to make my own salary. So I did not have a choice. So, and no one will employ a pregnant woman, right? I mean, that was not maybe after, right? But I need to make money while I was pregnant still. So you know what? I decided, hey, let's give it a shot. I created a homepage. I bought my own name as my domain. I started offering people my consultancy services. And you know what? I'm still doing that. I never returned to the corporate life because it became such a great success. And honestly speaking, it was on the bottom of my crisis that I actually found out what I'm really good at. And I'm really good at selling. And a lot of people do not have the sales skills. So basically, regardless whether you have bad or good times, everyone needs to understand how to be better at selling, right? Yes. So my market is endless. So, but I'm just sorry that I had to go through all those things to find my true talent. But I did.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. We've had so many people on the show that have thrived and built amazing businesses. And they all started out with that crisis mode where that was the pinnacle of, okay, now what? You know, they got cancer. One person ended up in a car accident, whatever it was, that now they're in a position where I can't do what I was doing, where, you know, maybe a corporate job or whatever, maybe staying at home with the kids move out, whatever it is. All of a sudden your life is upside down, change, now what? And that now what struggle, crisis is what brought about the idea and their thriving business. So it's interesting that sometimes the struggle can lead to your greatest opportunity.
I mean, I'm a big fan of limitations. Like we all have limitations in terms of time, energy, competence, and money, right? I mean, those are the four most random common limitations. So if you have all the time in the world, if you have all the energy, all the knowledge, and all the money in the world, I don't think you can be creative or really successful. You need that struggle to optimize, to be creative. I mean, most people who are very creative, they were either isolated, bullied, hurt some way, fired. They've been through things, and that is the reason why they became creative. And you know, if you're a mom and you have 2 kids and you cannot go to work, you will have to start thinking, how can I make money elsewise? And thanks to technology that I love so dearly, there's 2 things I want to say. You can build a global company from your kitchen table, right? From home. I mean, no, you can. It's really, technology is the biggest revolution for women, because a lot of women didn't like or couldn't or wouldn't join the corporate workforce simply because they don't want to spend their life in a car. They don't want to spend their life away from their loved ones. Today, through technology, you can build a global network. You can gain and learn new things from home. You can sell and execute your business from home. You don't even have to leave home. The gig industry, meaning the remote freelancer world, already 15 million Americans are working this way. It's fully, and it's okay to even have a company that is global, with a team, with people employed, and you don't have an office. It was never like that before.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go to universities to study anymore. All universities today, you can take classes online. And so really, I think IT and technology is a revolution, not only for the consumers, but also for the women or the ones who maybe have a disability or have, you know, anxiety or massive stress or other things that are kind of limiting them. It's a revolution. So yeah, I'm a fan of limitation and struggle. But you know, you need to feel your struggle. Too many are drinking, taking medicine, doing something to numb that feeling of being in a crisis. We need to accept that life goes up and down, and sometimes life is so painful that you don't even feel you can breathe, or it feels like every single bone in your body is broken. That's okay. That's okay, you know. It's okay. Crises are good. They're welcome.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned this, because it brings you to, you know, you say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think there's a bit of truth to that, because I recall back in my 20s, I was working in corporate America, had no desire to ever, you know, own or operate a business or go out on my own. But there was a gal, you know, I had a job though, and I knew I had to make money to survive. But there was a gal I met who had inherited in her 20s a huge inheritance and never, ever had to work in her life. And she was the most depressed person I ever met. And it was like, it was interesting to me, because I realized that because she didn't have to put forth effort for anything in her life, everything was taken care of, that she didn't feel a desire to go in any direction. And she felt completely lost and desolate. And I thought, wow, I wouldn't want that. Now, people always think, and I find it interesting, and people say, oh, if I only won the lotto, my life would be perfect. Oh, if I only got massive a portion of money, my life would be perfect. And I'm like, that's just money. Now what? Now what? What are you going to do to, you know, grow your biggest, grandest potential and explode it into the world? Because the money, well, you know, it's a tool, but it can't do that bringing of potential into the world.
You know, you touched something, because I think financial insecurity and growing equality and money as such is something most people think about every day. And I mean, money is really not relevant unless you don't have them. So, you know, when you don't have money, you think a lot about money. When you have enough money, you think less about them. But the thing is, you have to find a number. You have to define a number. What is your number? Every single person has a different number in their head. What will make you happy? Like, what will make you feel secure enough? That's one thing. First of all, and secondly, people who don't feel that their job is meaningful, that their life doesn't matter to other people, they are more likely to be depressed. Loneliness, you know, work is depressing if you don't feel that what you're doing is appreciated. And if there's no future or meaning to what you're doing. And they also found out, this is something that the Danes, I'm half Danish, and in Denmark, we're very proud of being, I think, the happiest nation, or at least one of the happiest nations in the world.
Wow.
And we found, I don't know, but you know, in Denmark, we don't have that many wealthy people. You know, it's a socialist country. We don't, you know, people make more or less the same. You know why people are happy? Because even your neighbor is probably not making more money than you. So it's more or less a very equal society. So regardless who you look and spend time with, that person doesn't make more money or is not more important than you are. It's a very equal society. But there's also something to that. That is from where do you get your inspiration to do better, right?
Exactly.
So I'm not a big fan of happiness. I mean, I really love being happy and I love making money, but I would rather have an exciting life. I rather have a life where I feel that I have enough money not to worry too much, because worrying is killing you, right? But I also want to be inspired. So for instance, I'm moving countries. This is my 4th country. This is my 2nd state in US. And I move around and I learn, because the only thing people cannot take away from you is what you know, the knowledge you have. And I think because the way we work is changing so fast, you need to understand how to send an invoice, how to make a living, how to build a portfolio of different revenue streams. And because if you stay in a job only for the money, it will kill you. Because it is soul crushing. It's crushing your soul. When your soul is crushed, you have no energy. You might start drinking or eating more. You might be, you know, it's not healthy for you. So money is an issue. I will always say money is an issue, because if you cannot pay your healthcare, if you cannot pay for, in America, the schools cost money, right? If you cannot pay the basics, of course you will stress out. But you need to find a way to create a revenue stream and build yourself a platform where you don't burn yourself out and where you can be in a long-lasting career. That is, and I, again, back to technology, I think even if you have a very small talent, it might be so narrow that almost no people can see it. You might be kicked out of school. I was. You might be really without any talent, but you can still make it. You can still make it if you're creative. But if you sell your soul and you stay in a job you don't like, there's no way you can be creative. You're crushing everything that makes you the person you are and will make you survive in the fast-growing working environment.
Wow. You touched on so many good points. And you mentioning if you don't have your basic needs met, if you can't pay for your food, your shelter, your clothes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is it's the first 3 layers of, needing the shelter and the food. And then once you've got that under control, then you can start looking at, building social acceptance and building yourself up to the point where you can self-actualize and build to your fullest potential. But until you take care of your basic needs, your foundation of that's taken care of, now I can start working on me and building my potential. And that's what I do love about the United States, that we have seen people who have been in positions where they're living in the ghetto, or they're having a really poor life, and they can build to a point like Oprah. My gosh, she was poor. And now look at her empire, and she's a woman, a female who's built to great leadership. So it's something that is possible in this country, but first working on building that foundation of taking care of your need first.
I'm actually, I'm writing on my next book, Future of Work. And the thing is, what's really interesting is you have a platform, right? I mean, yourself, your self-worth, your feeling of dignity, your self-esteem, the way you look at yourself, the way you talk about yourself. I think we need to understand for us to be successful. And I think this is something that changed my life many years ago. I want to share with you. You know, I grew up in a very white community. I'm half Moroccan, and I was not appreciated. Really, I was the only brown girl. My name was different. My dad was from Morocco. You know, I was not appreciated at all. And so I grew up always thinking that I was wrong. I have a lot of drive. I'm very ambitious. I want to change things. I'm a nice woman, but I'm not a polished woman, meaning I speak up, I interrupt men, you know, I'm not a girlish girl, right? I'm just a free woman. I am. I speak out my mind. I'm loud. I'm different, at least from where I grew up. So I grew up all my life feeling not wanted, not loved, not appreciated, not seen. I was bullied. You know, there was a lot of things. And the thing is, I never lost one thing. I never lost the feeling of I can make it. They just don't understand it. They don't appreciate me, but they will later. So I actually grew up with honestly speaking, with a lot of anger towards this white community, right? And I think some Americans grew up with that feeling too. And really, I understand why. But at some point in your life, you have to draw a line. You have to make a decision, maybe the decision of your life. From now on, my life has been hard. My upbringing was tough. My childhood was forever traumatizing me. It's over. It's not coming back. But from today, I'm going to start talking about myself in a different way. I'm going to approach people in a more positive way. I'm going to be walking with dignity. My head is going to be, you know, I'm going to hold it high. I'm going to be proud of who I am, whatever I've been through. And I kid you not, that one thing can change so much in your life, because the way you look at yourself, that is also the way other people see you. So you need to make that decision and treat yourself with dignity. When you start living your own values and go with dignity, people will do the same to you, and they will look at you in a different way. And in US, if you're proud of who you are, people will give you the second chance, right? That's the reason why we live in US. This great nation, there's no better place to live. There's no better place to be forgiven for mistakes you've done in life. Yes. I think US is the best place to live on earth, honestly speaking, exactly because of what you point out.
I completely agree. And it's interesting, when you mentioned you were really angry, I was too, for different reasons, growing up in a household that was violent. But, you know, for part of me, and it was interesting because I got to a point where I realized I didn't want to become the abusers in my life. And that anger led me to realize that I was abusive towards men in my early 20s. Yeah. But I also found it a great motivator for pushing me to be better. Did that happen for you as well?
So I have moments where I'm still angry, honestly speaking, because I'm like, it's my DNA, it's my default. Every human being has a default reaction, whatever feeling, right? And my feeling is anger. So I don't need a lot of therapy. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I've had that. But I need to make sure that my state of mind is always as healthy as it can be. So I need nutrition. I need sleep. There's only a certain amount of alcohol I can tolerate throughout maybe a week or whatever. Like if I don't do sport, if I'm not surrounded with people who are optimists, I need really to have all those things in order for me not to lose it. And I'm sharing this because I know a lot of people have this issue. So I can only be successful if I master those things. I'm not controlling myself. I'm just making sure that I'm in the best soil, that I'm in the best environment I can be. So, for instance, I need to surround myself with optimists, really, because otherwise I'll be dragged into this dark, evil place that everyone has. Like, people are like the moon, right? We have a light side and a dark side. And I need to be with the light side people, because otherwise I can be so angry and it will take over my perspective. And remember what I do for a living, right? Consultant, speaker, author. I cannot be dark. I mean, I can. I mean, there's a lot of creativity in that space. Yeah. I will never change my life for a second. I find so much energy in what happened to me. And I share the similar story like you from my youth. But I need to make sure that I'm surrounded with more positive people today. Otherwise, actually, otherwise I'm otherwise I'm self-sabotaging my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you mentioned it, Soulaima, because for me, a couple of years ago, I'd gotten to a point where I realized I didn't want to be a victim anymore. And I realized that was my biggest stoppage from me living my potential, was this living in victimhood. Even though I thought, okay, I'm not a victim anymore. This is a long time ago it happened. I'm really not angry. But things I would see, the way I would react to certain things in my life, or certain things I would allow into my field, maybe negative people or whatever, that I realized was making me be a victim. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to place myself with negative people, in negative spaces, because that is putting myself in a negative victimhood place. And I'm not doing that anymore. And it's amazing how much of my life changed, how much I grew. I discovered this podcast at that time. I started it originally for my consulting business. It took off like crazy within 6 months, 45,000 listeners without even trying. And this is how I discovered what my great passion is, doing this. But I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not gotten the space together where it's the space that is productive and positive and leaving behind the negative energy of the past and the people.
So first of all, for me to listen to your success, it makes me so happy. And when you find something you're good at and when you're witnessing that, I'm so happy. I mean, so happy on your behalf. And I love creative people. So you just inspire me so much. We mostly blame and shame because that's the easiest thing. It's so easy to blame and shame. Well, I'm a woman. I don't get rewarded because of the man, or I grew up in this violent home, but all those things. It's the easiest thing because then you don't have to take responsibility, but you have to own your own destiny. And I'm sorry for all of us who went through so much. You know what I found out? Even the wealthiest people, even the most famous entrepreneurs that I live and share my street with, even royals, everyone has a big secret and everyone has their own pain. I don't know anyone who do not have a pain or something they carry with them. It might not be easy for you to see from the outside because we have become so good in framing our life on social media to be this perfect whatever. There's no such thing as a perfect life. And you have this life, right? Like why would you compare yourself to others? The whole benchmarking, women especially benchmark themselves so much. Oh, she's more slim than I am. Her husband is more beautiful. Her kids are more behaved. But the thing is, you are who you are. You cannot change that. You can try to become the best version of yourself, like you and I are trying every day to become, but you cannot become someone else. It's a loss. It's a lost case. So you have been dealt some cards on your hands. You have to play them. And if you have these things against you, you have no choice but to turn them into an opportunity. That's the only option you have.
Absolutely. And what's so cool is you mentioned early on about having that vision for your life, that dream life, and seeing it in front of you so you have a direction to go in. And it's interesting. I had heard one of my favorite business mentors mention that when he speaks to most people, what do you want in life? They can't answer that question. All they come back to him is all the negative stuff. I don't want this. I don't want that. Okay, great. Let's start with that. What don't you want? Let's put that on the table first. Because then you could look at the opposite and say, okay, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be this or whatever. Now, okay, like you said, let's put a number on it. Okay, you don't want to be poor. So what does not being poor mean to you? What's the number on that? And what's cool about this book I read a million years ago is it said, okay, build out your dream life, write it out, don't pay attention about how many pages you're going to write out. Just write your dream day. And so I wrote it out. And then the next part of the exercise is how much would it cost in your bank account to maintain that dream life every month? And so I did it. I like went out and found the perfect type of house or apartment I'd like to live in. How much does it cost? The house, the car, just the lifestyle. And for me, it was exactly $367,000 per year to live that dream life. Well, that's great because now you have a starting point. That's exactly what I want my dream life to look like. Here's how much it costs. Bam. I mean, maybe later on, once you get started, you realize I want to add a little bit more to that pot, but it gives you a starting point.
No, you have to put a number on it. And I've had my numbers always. And being a speaker to inspire people, I've been sharing my visions and ambitions 5, even 10 years before they came into reality. So I had people witnessing what I want to accomplish, and I did it. I did it again. And every time people are like, oh, now you have reached your top. I'm like, no. I'm just at the beginning. I'm still just at the beginning. And you know, I think the exercise that you just told us about, the perfect week, is actually a very, very good starting point. Because when you realize how would a perfect week look like for me, you start realizing what is an optimal life for you. Like, should you be negotiating 2 days off so you can work from home? Or should you actually have 2 different kinds of jobs and split it through the week? Or should you actually be working more or less? So for instance, when I ask people what are the things that you miss in life, they very often say, well, my health, I don't exercise, I don't have time. My family, my friends. So I'm like, why? And they're like, we don't have time for that. And so many years ago, I was inspired by Marissa Mayer. She used to be the former CEO of Yahoo. And she shared with me a pie, and she has it on her CV resume, that she takes this pie, you know, visually, right? And said, well, I spend 10% every day on my family. I spend 40% of this on my work. And that pie is a good indicator. But and people will say, yeah, but she can afford it. You and I can afford it. No, listen, you have to start by defining what you want in life, and then it will be fine. Then you can start financing it. But you know, we have so many excuses, and I'm sorry for saying excuses.
Yes.
But we excuse our life all the time. There's no solutions, right? So one of my favorite terms, and some of the online classes that I have and I give, is life design, right? And I'm super inspired by Stanford and Yale universities that I've been lucky to go to, and they have all classes on life design. If you can design a product, you can design a life. So the tools are already out there. Designing your perfect week is one of them, right? There's so many tools that can kickstart that thinking that needs to be done before you get to the perfect life. And you know what? Spending time on what you don't want. Someone said to me some while ago, what you really, really, really don't want, you will get it. You know, so we cannot spend too much time on what we don't want to have. Spend time on what you have. And there's one big thing we need to realize. Are you doing what you're doing because it's good for you, because it's healthy for you, or are you doing it because it gives status in your environment? Too many of us, you know, you probably know this.
Yes.
Too many of us spend money on things we don't want to impress people we don't like. You know, it's not worth it.
Yes.
It's not worth it. What is a great life for you?
You're so right about that. And when you stop worrying about other people and start saying, okay, what do I want? And the exercise was a good point. About 12 years ago, I had gotten a point where I needed to exercise and I had no money for a gym, whatever, but it was the click. And I've heard one of my favorite business mentors that there's a 3-stage process. First, you make the decision that you're going to do something, then you actually move forward, and then you go deeply into studying it. But for me, the decision is the first mechanism for moving forward, and it's that click in your head where it's like, bam, I'm done. I'm going to exercise. We're doing it this year. And so that year and I think it was in the middle of the year, it wasn't like January, but I went to a friend of mine and said, that's it. I'm sick of feeling like this. I want to feel better. I want to exercise. I can't afford a gym. She's like, you know what? I've had under my bed this 10 exercise tapes and this stepper and this like weight bar. Would you like it? Cause it's just sitting there gathering dust. And do you know that I don't know what she paid for it, but darn, it helped me lose 35 pounds.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. And it was such a great gift, and it cost me nothing. But what it cost me is the effort to get started. And you know what? I had said this before on the show. When I first got started, I was so tired. I couldn't even do more than 10 minutes of the tape. So I was like, okay, today I'm only doing 10 minutes of exercise, tomorrow 15. But, within a month, I was able to do the full 50 minutes or hour. But, start where you are. I mean, if it's exercise, if it's your business, start 10 minutes a day. So, start in increments till you can build your tolerance and your stamina to building more. Because getting started today, you're moving one step closer to your vision.
And also, your story also indicates the importance of saying things loud. Please tell people people what you want to accomplish in life. And honestly, some people will say, yeah, that can never be done. It's impossible. Who are you to think you can do this or that, right? So you have those people. But I think you should get rid of the no-sayers and the pessimists. And if it's your family, maybe just don't hang out with them so much. But really say it out loud. Again and again, I'm reminded of when I meet people and they ask me, so what do you want to accomplish in life? What can I help you with? There's a lot of gifts every day in your life if you look carefully, right? There's a lot of people, like even if you meet someone in the Starbucks queue. I mean, you meet people all the time. I mean, okay, some people don't. But if you start looking, there's people everywhere who could be helpful for you somehow. So you have to start writing. It's never been easier to publish things online. It's never been easier to say what you think and reach an audience. Say out things loud. When you told your friend that you want to exercise, your friend had the, otherwise that person wouldn't probably not have said, under my bed there's this thing, please just take it. Right? So you have to start saying it out loud. But we are so afraid that people will start laughing. Is this your dream? Or, oh, you don't need to lose weight. Or because sometimes if you have goals in life, you make other people uncomfortable because when you change, they will have to make a decision. Do I want to change too, or do I want to stay where I am? And can this cost me my relationship to my spouse, my friend, my sister? So sometimes we don't change simply because we don't want to rock that boat.
Yes. And you made a good point. Many years ago, this is very interesting, Soulaima. I was out at a party and I had mentioned to my psychologist friend that I wanted to work, and this is my early 20s, I wanted to work with children with autism. And I had no experience in that area. I'm not I hadn't done psychotherapy. I hadn't had counseling, but it was important to me to volunteer or work in that area. So I remember telling her, and she's like, she said, oh, I don't know anyone can help you. You need a degree, whatever. So I remember she invited me to a Christmas party, and at the Christmas party, she had a lot of psychologists there and people in the field. Well, I just happened to mention to someone at the Christmas party in passing, oh, well, I'd like to help children with autism and work with them, but I don't have a degree. I'm thinking of going back to college for a psychology degree. And they said, we happen to have a respite program where you don't need any degree, but you kind of give parents a break who have children with autism. And we also have a school and we need help big time. I can introduce you to the owner. Now that was totally, I think about a month after I spoke to her originally, telling her that I wanted to do this. And so the power of getting it out there, the intention, but also, being willing to jump on it when the opportunity hit, because when she called me and said, hey, we actually need help, I jumped on it. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life.
Well, you jumped on it.
Yeah.
I mean, people, even if you serve them right in front of them what they have always asked for, sometimes people don't jump because that first, you have to put your foot forward, right? And sometimes, so one of my books, it's published in Danish, but nevertheless, it's called Courage to Success, right? You know why? Because people are actually afraid of success. Have you ever thought about it? Some people are afraid of being successful because they are getting used to complaining, being stuck in the old habits and thoughts and actions and community and whatever. And it's just a little bit more entertaining, right? To meet people and when they ask you, how do you feel? And then you can complain for 1 hour. If you're successful and happy, you really don't have anything to say, right? Because everything is good. So it's also a little bit, it's a big change of mind, right? Mindset. So people are afraid of success. So you have to jump it. And if you don't know what you want to achieve in life, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't spend time finding that out, you will never be able to recognize between two very important things. Life gives you a lot of good chances. Good chances. It's thrown at you all the time if you look. But there's a big difference between a good chance and the right chance. The right chance you can only recognize if you know where you're going.
Absolutely. This has been such an awesome, informative talk that I know is going to expand people's minds in 2019. I can't wait for them to really explode into their full potential. But I don't want people to leave without finding out how they can get in contact with you, find out more about you. How can they do that?
Well, I had so much fun doing this, and you have been such a great inspiration as well. I mean, oh my goodness. Well, if people want to find out more what I do, the easiest way is to go on soulaima.com, my name. And then sign up for my newsletters. It's called Straight Talk. It's been around for 10 years. I invite people to stuff. I throw out thoughtful newsletters. I believe I'm very honest, as you can tell, and I am in my newsletters as well. And so people can stay in touch with me there if they don't. Yeah, that will be the easiest way. But of course, I'm on social media as well, and that's Thank you for asking that question.
Oh, you betcha. Soulaima, it's been such a fantastic talk. Thank you so much for coming to Savvy Business Radio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Savvy Business Radio broadcasts worldwide via a large podcast network, celebrating business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers, and successful individuals. Find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest. Call 732-474-7375 or email Christina@savvybusinessradio.com.